Right, should we kick off?
Let's do it.
All right, well, so we've got fantastic Sarah who's going to talk us through Microsoft Viva, and give us a
What's it called again?
So thank you very much, Sarah, for agreeing to do a session for us. It's great to have you come speak to us. So take it away.
Thank you. I am hopefully sharing my PowerPoint presentation and have just put a link in the chat if you're interested in downloading it, because there are some useful links in it. But that's the easiest way to give it to you, is to actually share the whole thing. So I called the session a plain speaking overview. The aim is to give you a jargonless marketing speak free, fingers crossed, overview of what Microsoft Viva is, what's coming, etc. So first of all, very briefly, this is me. I am the octopus in the middle. At least I feel like it most days, with all the screens going on around you. I've been a trainer for over 20 years, been Microsoft certified for 14, and as you can see by the pretty badges, I like collecting the certifications. Tells me that I kind of know what I'm talking about, or at least I know how to Google the answers.
Yeah.
Don't we all? Isn't that what it means? Okay, so as I say, looking at what Viva actually is and where it fits into Microsoft 365. So what we've already got, how does it fit in? The big questions like when and how much are also questions I'm going to hopefully address for you tonight, as much as is available as yet, and then give you an overview of each of the products and dive in and show you as much as is currently available on those products. Before we start, though, I couldn't really let it go past without mentioning that Teams this month turned 4, SharePoint this month turned 20. So, next month, Microsoft 365 turns 10.
Wow.
So, all good birthdays, aren't they? All these tools that we've come to know and love. The SharePoint birthday party, it really struck me how they were talking about the evolution of SharePoint ending currently with Microsoft Viva, that very last point, the 4th of Feb 21, which is when the first Viva product launched and Viva was announced. So what is it? Okay, so Microsoft are calling Viva an employee experiences platform. Okay, to turn that into plain English, it's a set of tools based on Microsoft 365, designed around remote and hybrid working. Yeah, so it's designed for users who are not in the office to feel connected to their colleagues, and it actually builds on an awful lot of the tools they've already announced, features that have been announced under other guises, and things we already know about. So if we look at Viva Connections, that was previously announced as the SharePoint home for Microsoft Teams.
Oh, right.
Okay, but it's also been extended a little bit in that it's integrating the SharePoint global navigation bar that's supposed to be appearing on our home sites at the moment, and also pulling in some of our Yammer communities as well, if you use Yammer at all. So it's kind of what was already announced, but they've taken it that little bit further. Viva Insights is based on My Analytics. It's also the Cortana email that you may be loving to hate that lands each morning in your inbox. So if you take the Cortana email about things that you've missed out of your inbox, and you take the My Analytics weekly emails and you combine those two together, then you've got what you're getting as Viva Insights. Okay, we then can add in the workplace analytics if you have an organization big enough to run workplace analytics, which most of us don't. Dave mentioned last week that actually you almost need to be over 5,000 users to have workplace analytics, and it can only be purchased through the enterprise agreement. You can't purchase workplace analytics any other way. Okay, and there's no demos of it that you can run. It's all videos only if you don't have a license. The other thing that we've got coming into here is, Simon, you were mentioning the well-being, and Dylan was mentioning the well-being issues that HR are looking at. Microsoft announced at the Ignite last year the collaboration with Headspace for the meditation apps inside Teams, and also what they call the digital commute. Review your task list and get yourself set up for tomorrow, a little bit of brain space before you start. Those are also features of Viva Insights, and that component is supposed to be launching this month, the digital commute. Okay, the Headspace meditation features, those are coming later this year. Viva Topics is the bit of Project Cortex that most of us were kind of excited about. It's the bit that analyzes, that trawls all of your SharePoint data and looks for keywords to pull them together into topics, that when you receive emails or you're looking at SharePoint pages or messages in Teams, you get the little link that you can click on to go and see an information page about that topic. So that's where Viva Topics comes in. It was originally announced as Project Cortex. It's also the only thing in Microsoft Viva that isn't a Teams app. There isn't an app for that. Okay. So that's your topics, harnessing your knowledge. Yep. Basically doing an indexed search of your data. And it takes quite a while to set up. I don't have a huge amount of data in my tenant, but I would say it took a good 3 weeks to actually properly crawl my data and actually start becoming useful. So you get a 30-day trial. You'll be lucky if it's got far enough through your data to evaluate it properly at the end of the trial. Viva Learning, very, very few people have seen so far, but it's basically combining the Learning Pathways SharePoint site with LinkedIn Learning and other third-party tools to give us an app inside Teams that we can use to access training materials, that we can add our own videos, etc. too. This was previously announced as the Learning app for Microsoft Teams. Okay, so Viva Learning is that product. So this is why I say a lot of what we're calling now Microsoft Viva is things we've already heard about or builds on things we're already using. This is Insights. This is actually a screenshot from Microsoft because we don't have all 3 tabs today. We only have 2 of the 3 tabs. So this is the Home tab, which has our mindfulness, our have a break, how are you feeling, your reflection history, and integrating some of the My Analytics features, booking your focus time, etc., actions coming from you to do. This Home tab is due to roll out in March, like this month. Has it landed for anyone? Hasn't landed for me, that's for certain. I've got the Stay Connected and the Protect Time tabs. So if I just switch over to my Microsoft Teams, here's my Viva Insights as it stands today, with my Stay Connected and my Protect Time. Now my Stay Connected are very similar to the items I was getting from my from your Cortana email. Yep. Okay. To add insights into Teams, and this launched in the 3rd of Feb, so you can have it whenever you feel like, unless your admin switched it off for you. You go to the 3 dots at the bottom and just search for Insights and look for the one that has the same icon as the My Analytics, and you're up and running. Away you go. As I say, later this month, they're cutting it fine on that one. But later this month, we are supposed to be getting the Home tab for Insights. Okay. And that's your well-being features. Those are that's the remotely manage your team's mental well-being as they're away from the office. Connections is the other one that's supposed to be launching in March. Again, short of that, it's not landed yet. In fact, in my tenant, I don't even have the global navigation in SharePoint yet that is core to running connections. So I don't know if you do, but if I go into my SharePoint home site, give it a refresh just in case, you never know. It might have landed in the last half hour. Nope. What we should see on our SharePoint home site is this nav bar appearing down the left-hand side of the screen. And you can control that from your site menu. You'll have a global navigation option in there when it lands. If you don't know how to get to your SharePoint home site, when you get to SharePoint, just delete everything off the end after your .com, delete your /sites, etc., and that will bring you to the site that's designated as your SharePoint home site. If it's not a modern SharePoint page, it won't work. Okay, you won't get the global navigation. But once that lands, there's then a PowerShell script that we can run. Oh, somebody's got one. Simon's got one. I'm jealous now.
I've had it for about a month.
Lucky you.
I don't know why.
Yeah. I've got 4 different tenants that I'm looking at, and it hasn't landed in any of them.
Yeah, likewise.
There's even a PowerShell script that you can run to make it visible. And in none of my tenants does the PowerShell script it's not even recognized as a valid script.
To your point, that just appeared in one of mine. It was not there this morning.
I'm so jealous. I'm going to go and sulk now. As soon as that appears, from tomorrow morning, you can enable connections inside Microsoft Teams. Okay. Oh, you're all showing off now. I'm going to go and cry. So what we need to do is you need your precursors, if you like, for Viva Connections are you've got a SharePoint home site nominated. It's got to be a modern SharePoint site. It won't show up on the classic site. So if you've got an older SharePoint site as your home page, it won't work. And then once it launches, you can, as of tomorrow, you can run the PowerShell script to land connections in your tenants. And then apparently you can configure it from the settings in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. So your org settings will have options in there. Okay, so you may also have noticed a message in your message center ready all about this. I've taken the picture of it on the left-hand side so you can go and look for it. But for those people who don't have access to the message center, I've included the text in the presentation with all of the links. So as I say, you can set up your site, get ready, and just run the script as it says from the 31st of March. Yeah, just follow the instructions. Apparently it's as easy as doing what it says on the tin. And then over time it'll build up and dynamically pull in your news from your SharePoint sites, messages posted in Yammer, any Yammer groups the users are part of, plus give you the link to your SharePoint home site and a route from Teams into SharePoint. Viva Topics I actually have up and running. Yay!
Cool.
So I'll walk you through that and show you how that's working in my environment in due course. And this is a screenshot from it based on the content it's found in my tenant that it's tagged to pull together as topics that we work on and to collect the knowledge together. Quite interesting how bad I am at filing and how much all of my data's got splattered all around lots of different SharePoint sites according to what it's found. Okay, and then Viva Learning, as you can see from the moving image, this again is stolen from Microsoft, and this is the My Learning app. Yeah, and this allows us to pull in the little videos and articles that Microsoft publish on their own site. There's also the ability to connect up LinkedIn Learning and other third-party tools. And again, this will be managed directly from the organization settings page in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. So they're all going to be really simple to manage. There's not an awful lot of configuration to do for any of the Viva apps as yet. It's a question of when and how much then, isn't it?
Yeah.
So when? Topics was released first at the beginning of February, right when Viva was announced, so you can use that whenever you want. As I say, there's a 30-day trial of it, and we can use that instantly. Once Viva Connections rolls out, topics cards will be visible in Microsoft Teams, so those links will then start working from Teams. Okay, at the moment there's no integration between those topics and anything other than a SharePoint page. Okay, so if you build a SharePoint page that mentions the topic becomes a hyperlink to the topic information page. Apart from that, it's kind of disjointed as things stand at present. As I say, Connections is currently rolling out, and those of you who are there with your global navigation bar in your SharePoint site, you can log in tomorrow and run your PowerShell script and be up and running with it in no time flat. There is an update with more features and the mobile app due out in the summer. Microsoft have said summer. I don't know what other people think to that, but for me that usually means it's July or August. They don't seem to roll out updates in June. Yeah. Okay, unless my memory's faulty, but sometime June, July, August.
Yeah.
Yep. Which usually means September, once everyone gets back from their holidays.
Yep.
But that does mean if we're ever allowed out of the office, we can have a holiday as well, because there won't be anything new to roll out. As I say, Insights is also available. That is easily added with the Home tab due to be rolling out. It actually says on the roadmap when I checked the other day that it is actually currently rolling out and due for full rollout by the end of April. Okay, the Learning app is due for public preview in April. Now, if they're sending it to public preview, that probably means it's going to be a paid service.
Okay.
Okay. Because Insights they release straight away. Connections, they're not going through a preview with it. Topics went through a preview, a private preview, then a public preview, and topics is chargeable. So that's what I'm basing that assumption on. I could be wrong, it's a guess. They also haven't said what the licensing is going to be for learning, which is usually another clue that they're going to charge you for it. In terms of the licensing, the important questions. So the prices that I've included here, the £3.80 per user per month for topics, is based on the direct purchase price. Obviously, those of you who have enterprise agreements or work through a CSP may find it'll be slightly different pricing. Okay. So topics, as I say, £3.80 per user per month. You don't have to have users licensed for topics to find data that they've authored. It's only the users who want to consume those topic cards and edit the topic cards that need to be licensed for topics. But at £3.80 per user per month, it's not one of those products that's going to break the bank.
Unless you've got 10,000 users.
In which case you're probably on an enterprise agreement and there's no chance you're paying the full price.
Yeah.
Unless you've negotiated a bad deal. Okay. Connections are part of the SharePoint license. So you've got any Microsoft 365 license that includes SharePoint, you've got connections. Insights is actually based on the Exchange Online licensing. But if you've got a tenant that doesn't have My Analytics for any reason, then it won't include the insights. If you've got workplace analytics, as we say, that extends further, but that's a whole different ball game. And learning to be confirmed. LinkedIn learning is not free. Okay, so I'm expecting the licensing for learning to be very similar to the sort of prices for LinkedIn learning. And then, as Daniel said, other third-party providers will then charge on top for their content to be added. Those are sort of the rumours, if you like, that I've heard, but I've not heard numbers, so I have absolutely no idea. So there you go. That is the sum total of everything we've found out to date, pulled into a nice, neat little package. But let's have a look at how we set them up.
Yeah.
Okay. So inside the Microsoft 365 Admin Center, under Settings, under Org Settings, this is where I can find topic experiences. So as soon as you've got a single license, as soon as you purchase a single license or the preview, or you sign up to the trial for Viva Topics, you will find the topics experience settings in here. And as you walk through it, it basically walks you through a series of questions. Okay. And these questions are these different settings that I've now got in here. So we've got our topic discovery, where we can set which SharePoint sites we're looking at and if there are any keywords that you don't want it to search to include as topics. You then have your topic visibility, so who can see the topics. Obviously, they do need to be licensed. Yeah. And you can only modify this access if you have the group's admin access. So realistically, you want to be a global administrator to be configuring the topics experience, because you need some SharePoint permissions, you need some group permissions. So that's an easier solution. You also have the ability to choose who can create topics and who can manage topics. So you can manually create them if you don't want to let the tool search for it yourself, but I've not found that terribly reliable. It's a bit clunky. And then the last step is to give it a SharePoint site that you want to use for viewing your topics. Now, I imaginatively called mine the Topic Center. I thought that was pretty logical, and used a site address of topics. And just to make it easier to access, I actually included that as a link on my SharePoint home site, which doesn't have its central navigation bar. Sulk. Anyway, jumping over to topics. This is what the site looks like.
Sorry, Sarah, can you just go back and show me where you found the setup for topics? It was in settings.
So in settings, under org settings, topic experiences.
Right down the bottom there. Interesting.
But it's only there once you've either activated the preview or purchased the license.
Right, okay, so that's it. So that's where it will be, but you've got to have the licensing in one way.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
thank you very much.
If
you
want
have a trial, can't you?
You can get a trial, a 30-day trial. So yes, you can go to purchase services.
It's not on the dev site though for free, is it? When you go for your dev site, unfortunately, I've just looked.
No, it's not. You can run the trial on your dev site. But again, just bear in mind it does take up to 30 days for it to finish up trawling your site, and you've got a 30-day trial. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, as soon as you set it up, you now need to deploy patience. When you come to your topic center for the first time, this topic site, there will be nothing there. There will be home, documents, pages, site content. You won't even have the getting started link, and you'll notice the other links keep disappearing as you move through the pages. It's probably one of the worst SharePoint sites I've used for a long time, to be fair. The getting started page is quite interesting when it appears. It does tell you, you know, how to set it up, how topics are discovered, how to manage your topics. But basically what you want is you want this manage topics page. I see the links disappeared off my quick launch again across the top. It's ridiculous. Come back. No, it's completely gone. Love it. Oh no, it's back. Yay. So what the tool does is it crawls your data and it's looking for repeated keywords. So it's looking at all of the search data, all of the crawl data, and analysing it to look at words that are repeated that look to be topics within your document. And it will then suggest them. And when you find suggested topics, you can click on them in the list of suggested topics to confirm them. And then in confirmed, you can go and find a topic. So this is a relatively new one for me, this Captivate one. Okay, and as you click on it, you can see the sort of topic card that you will collect from other places once it finds that keyword in your pages. I can then click onto the three dots and review and publish that topic. And it's now a SharePoint page. There are different parts on the page that you have to edit before it will let you publish it. So you can't publish the topic until you've manually reviewed the topic page. Now, I set mine up that anyone could edit the topics. So anyone in my organisation could come and take responsibility for these topics and edit these pages and publish them. Obviously, if you don't want that to happen, you can limit that in the topic settings in the admin center under the permissions. Yeah. But now I can put in different names. I can put in a description. Can't remember who made Captivate. Anyone remember? else can remember what it is. It's that old. You've got to attach a person to it, so I'm going to attach myself because, as I say, there's no real one else really in my organisation. And you've got to describe how you're connected to the topic. And then you can pin files or pages as authoritative sources as the place you want content to go about this particular product. But there's also suggested files that it's found. You are now supposed to be able to connect topics. What I've found is if you connect topics before you publish the page, it doesn't work. It forgets them. Okay, so publish the page first, and obviously read all the warnings that it's going to be searching your site for various information, and you've got permissions and access and so on. Yeah, so make sure you read the guidance. It comes up every time you publish. You'll soon be sick of it. And now that will be a topic page. If I want to make further changes to it, like linking it to another topic, then I can go into edit, back into edit on my page, and I can now go in and add a related topic. And you can search for any of your existing topics. And you have to specify how it's connected before you can add the connection. Yeah. And it doesn't autocorrect your mistypes or misspellings. And then I just republish the page. Now, when I'm viewing this page in future, I should be able to follow the link through to my Microsoft 365 topic, or at least see it. Now, in the demos, you see that Microsoft are running. You can actually see the extra links going off that Microsoft 365 topic itself. And if I jump over to my page here, you can see that I have got connected topics here, but they're not showing. That SharePoint topic wasn't showing up. So I'm not getting that full diagram building up. And when I've talked to the engineers, they're basically saying there are improvements due. So apparently it's not me. At least that's the way I read that. If they're saying there are improvements due when I ask what have I done wrong, that tells me it's not me. Okay, now back to the home page. I should be able to see the Captivate topic listed here under my confirmed connections, but I might have too many, in which case I'll need to click on see all. And as you can see, it's not brilliant. Okay, it didn't actually load them. But if I go to pages, this is where you can find everything. Okay, every topic you build is a SharePoint page. Okay, and the SharePoint pages are all listed in here, and you can access them and edit them and publish them from here and jump back in if you've left one checked out, like I have here. Yeah, if you've left a page checked out, just like you can any other SharePoint page, you can see that from here. So all of your topics are pages. And hopefully you can see it's not terribly bug-free at the moment. And the other thing I'm finding is these topic cards don't actually pop up reliably. The links don't populate through reliably when you first create a page. It takes 24 to 48 hours before the topics become links from SharePoint pages if you mention their names inside the pages. So me personally, I'm finding it a little bit underwhelming at the moment. I don't know if it's worth £3.80 per user per month.
It's a V1,
And I was
isn't
being
it?
recorded.
It's a V1 product, isn't it? I guess.
It is, and we've also got to consider that it's working off AI, so the more people who use it, the better it's actually going to get. So perhaps I should encourage you all to go out and spend your money and use Viva Topics so my experience improves as well.
The greater good. Nice.
Yes. Do join us. Come and use Viva Topics and it'll get better for everyone. It's the same argument about the report message button in the Outlook desktop, isn't it? Please use it, because then spam filtering will be better for everybody.
Yeah.
It doesn't work, does it? So say that's Viva Topics, and that's how it's been working for me. With regard to the Insights app, by the way, in Teams, I have found a number of organisations who found that it's blocked. Okay, it doesn't appear, and that's because of how they've got their app policies in Microsoft Teams set up. Yeah, so I'm sure everyone here knows, but just very briefly, when you're in the Teams Admin Center, and the same will be true, by the way, of the Connections app. Once that launches, you'll have to make sure that's not blocked inside the Teams Admin Center. So you need to go to your permission policies and make sure that either all the Microsoft apps are permitted, or if you're only doing specific apps, that you allow that one through.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, obviously, you won't have it, both Insights and Connections. The other thing Microsoft is suggesting is that we go to our setup policies and actually add the app in, so it self-installs on the side rail for our users. If any of you are using the preview features inside the Teams desktop, the Insights is working just as well with the preview build as with the standard build. The only thing I've found personally in the preview build is that Power BI app doesn't work. No apps or tabs. So there we go. As I say, Viva is, I know I was supposed to spend an hour, but Viva is actually at the moment really building on everything you already know. So there's not an awful lot of admin to do. There's not a lot of configuration to do. Most of what we've got to do at the moment is wait. And that's even true once you've got Viva Topics up and running. So I have left a few links. There's just one other thing I'd like to show you before I finish, if I can find the email. So if you go onto the first link on the references, you can sign up for the to be kept informed. And if you sign up as a partner, they are periodically sending out these emails. This is the second one that I've had. The first one was thank you for signing up. So it's quite useful to receive that and see what's going on. And obviously there are some useful links in here as well. But I've taken the most interesting bits and included them in the links in the presentation. There's a lot of repetition in what they're launching, what they've shared here.
Did you join the? Have you joined that the Yammer Microsoft Partner Yammer group?
No, I haven't. I perhaps should.
It took me a while, but I finally got onto that. You know, there's some reasonable conversations, but again, it's, I don't know. It seems like it's diluting from the Microsoft tech community a bit.
Yeah, the tech community does have some really good articles in as well, and conversations around Viva, but at the moment everyone's just saying the bits I've seen are really good, can't wait for the rest.
Yeah.
So hopefully that helps. I mean, Microsoft made it seem really quite complex when they announced it.
It's one of their particular skills, that and branding.
Yeah. It's when you actually start digging into it, there isn't a lot of complex administration or controls for the administrator. There isn't really much we need to do or know, and it's using services that we've already got. So there's no real security and compliance considerations to add in on top. Currently.
Is that because there aren't any, or it leverages the existing security and governance?
Because it's really just presenting the same information in a different way.
Yep.
So it's already covered. Then that might be different once connections and learning start rolling out in full. There might be more considerations there. I can see, because with connections you can publish resources to your community, to your organization, so that might, but we can share links. So is that necessarily something extra? It'll be interesting to see if the safe links in the Defender for Office 365 picks that up as well. But at the moment, from what I'm seeing, I can't see that there are any additional considerations, unless anyone spotted something as I've been going through that they feel needs further investigation.
No, the bit that does interest me for Viva Connections is they've announced, haven't they, that the SharePoint framework will allow you to extend it at some point. They're working on that.
Okay.
Quite interesting.
Yeah.
So just so I'm clear, because Microsoft branded it, so I'm naturally confused. Because Microsoft have talked about two things. They've talked about the SharePoint homepage, and they've talked about the SharePoint Home app in Teams.
Yes.
And which one is it that Connections is now?
It's the Home app.
It's the Home app.
Teams.
Right, that's what I thought you said. I wanted to be really clear. Okay.
But
okay.
You do need to have a SharePoint Home site.
Yes, absolutely.
Designated for that to work.
Yeah, that's fine, because I have a standard model for building those alongside Teams. So Teams take care of most of SharePoint, and then you've got the home site, or the HQ site, or landing deck as I call it. And you say that the app is due to land this week?
Yes, tomorrow.
Okay, I shall believe that when I see it, but then I didn't have the toolbar yesterday, or the map, the global menu, and I do today.
So now you've got the toolbar, you need to go and find that message in the message center tomorrow and follow the link to the PowerShell script to run that for connections to land. It's not an instant land. There is a script that you need to run, and you run the script and it prompts you for parameters. And so it prompts you for the home site, any additional terms of use that you've got that you want to specify.
Oh, thank you for that. I was just about to go looking.
So yes, as soon as you've got that bar, you're good to go.
Stepping back from this, what do you see as the killer feature of all of these things?
I don't think there is a killer feature. I think what is going to get users excited is the fact that they don't have to leave Teams.
Okay.
Yeah, that I can use SharePoint, I can use Yammer, I can use all of those tools from Teams.
Yeah, I can see that, because in a lot of small organizations, the intranet is gathering dust and Teams is where it all is. So all of the intranet content is basically just there for tumbleweed. Nobody ever looks. So bringing everything inside of Teams makes a lot of sense for most small organizations.
Yeah.
I know Simon Hudson has a long-standing debate. We have a long-standing debate about whether or not a small organisation actually needs an intranet anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I think that even decent-sized organisations don't. So I'm doing a rollout for this engineering company, and they're sort of 500 people or so, maybe more than that. And I don't think they need an intranet. What they need is a collective workspace.
And that is what the home, the bringing the SharePoint home site into Microsoft Teams is going to hopefully encourage.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I think I was talking 5 or 8 years ago about SharePoint, becoming increasingly invisible and being pushed down the stack as a service provider, and something else coming along, and that something is Teams. And people like us will still spend a chunk of time inside SharePoint wrangling it. That's only to give the users a low friction interface via Teams. So their stuff comes from SharePoint, but frankly, they don't care.
Yeah. I spend most of my time when I'm training SharePoint teaching people how to use the Connect Cloud Storage button in the Files tab, and also the SharePoint tab in the Teams client.
Yes. Yeah, I tend to mount libraries as tabs because it's more immediate than putting it in the files area. But I'll do with the files connecting as well. Isn't it bonkers that you can't connect OneDrive to that?
Is it?
Well, I think it is. I mean, because people are going to, the ordinary user goes into the files tab because I think that's where the files are, and they've got everything there potentially except their own files. Now, I know that they're over on the left, but nobody ever looks at the files area on the left nav. They go into the files tab.
Well, that's only if they've got one. If they've got one team, yes. Surely if they've got more than one, they start hunting around.
Not in my experience, but then that's because they're users.
Well, I haven't trained them then. Cheeky.
That's true.
No, I do find, 10 minutes with a group of users in Teams, you can really increase their productivity just by pointing out things that they haven't spotted on screen themselves. Just on that, on the tab versus the connection issue, I actually like the connected files better, because when I go into there, I've got more of the full SharePoint experience. So if I'm using content types and so on, I've got those in there, which I don't get so much when I add it as a SharePoint tab.
I thought it was the other way around, if I'm absolutely honest. Far be it for me to disagree with you.
Well, let's go and check. This is the same library.
There are clearly differences between the two experiences.
Yeah, that's the same library as a tab, as a SharePoint tab. Obviously, you get the total experience if you add it as a website tab. That's obviously the best one.
Yeah.
And that is the only one you'll get the version history from inside Teams. But apart from the version history, I think pretty much the connected, the cloud storage is the closest to the native experience.
So you're absolutely right. I add all of the document library tabs via the SharePoint tab type, using the document library selection from there. Because you're right, there's the legacy library tab that's pretty rubbish.
Yeah. And I prefer either the web or the connected.
Yeah.
The cloud storage option. But there you go. That's a different debate, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
But that SharePoint, the Viva Connections, the SharePoint Home app inside Teams is really going to bring the news and the home page in. And there's more I'm hearing that is going to come. I'm hearing each team may potentially get its own homepage inside Microsoft Teams as well.
Okay, that makes sense. Again, that's something which I manually build inside the SharePoint site at the moment and then mount in the general channel to give that sort of, you know, about us or about our team kind of experience.
Yeah, what I've heard talked about, and I haven't got any evidence that this is definitely where they're going to go. It's based on rumours and half stories. But what I've heard talked about is a home page when you go to the general channel, and then as the first tab, and then an extra tab to take you into the posts.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah.
Just say that again. Let me get my head around it.
So when you go into your general channel,
yeah,
you won't go to the posts when you click on a channel.
Yeah.
You'll go to the home page for the team.
Okay.
In general. Every other tab will still go to the posts channel, the post tab as normal, but the general channel will go to the default team homepage.
So I guess I'll be a bit cross if they do explicitly that. What we've been asking them for ages is to define which is the home tab in a channel.
Yeah.
Because having the home page is great in some cases, but other people want to go straight to the whatever the functional page is.
Yeah, but then you customize the home page to have the components on that you want to see. So you
I mean, arguably, but it's a pain in the arse if I've already got pages set up to do the job I want. And sometimes it isn't a page I want as the landing page. It might be the files tab, for heaven's sake.
Well,
it's
then
certainly won't be the wiki tab.
Well, just like you build a home page in SharePoint, you bring your web parts in and make the big web part at the top your files tab.
Yes, again, that is what I would do, but it's still not what I want them to do. I want them to let me have the choice.
Well, they sort of are.
Interesting. Have you come across any word on being able to do team-to-team navigation within Teams? I found one way of doing it and one way only, but if I want to click a link or a button or something and jump from one Teams area to another.
No.
The only way I've ever found to do it is links within the wiki will do that team-to-team navigation, but nothing else will.
No. No, I've not used that because the one time I tried to do it, I managed to crash.
Oh, I mean,
several
the wiki
copies of Microsoft Teams.
Deeply horrible anyway.
So.
No, very good.
So there you go. But yes, I think really what we're looking at with Viva are just those extra bits in Teams that Microsoft have already announced. Just pulling it all together in under a branding name and marketing it as this employee experience platform to support the hybrid work.
And what excites you most about it, Sarah? Apart from obviously the considerable amount of training revenue it would generate.
No, I think again it's the small to medium-sized businesses. It's the fact that the users, the sort of hurdle to adoption is much lower with these tools than it is with SharePoint generally. You know, the whole
I agree.
Access into file storage, interaction, collaboration with Teams is just so much simpler than them trying to get their head around SharePoint. Just don't tell them it's SharePoint because then they're happy.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. Although there's still a need to do sensible information architecture for the content, you don't need users to be building pages and documents in the way that they did and join it all together. It will try and intelligently join those together. And to be honest, the AIs can probably join things together at least as intelligently as the average SharePoint user.
Sarah, can you see who can you see building all these topics and these connections? I'm just thinking that the whole managed metadata story was a great idea, but it was just really it was such a big job that it was very often neglected.
Yeah, I think ultimately it'll fall to the SharePoint admin to start with within the organisation. But it is actually really not a technical job.
Yeah.
It's an organisation knowledge role. So you will see that needing to be pushed out to people who have a good amount of broad organisational knowledge. And with larger organisations, that'll be a team of people, maybe nominated from each department.
So larger organisations will frequently have a knowledge manager in some shape or form. But did I see that you can allocate topic managers or topic owners in there?
Yes, so you can allocate an owner to the topic, but they've got to have permissions to edit topics. Yeah. And that doesn't give them permission to just edit the one topic. Okay,
well, I mean, broadly speaking, I'm okay with that, because you've got to trust your experts with more than just their level of expertise. So, and I guess more granularity on that may come, but I'm broadly okay with having a group of people, all of whom have rights and know what not to break. But the idea of, instead of having gatekeepers, which I think are very dangerous in organisations, but having groups of people who are subject matter experts and therefore take on the topic owner mantle, I think that's an appropriate thing in big organisations. In small organisations, I don't know how it can work, because in small organisations it usually sits with the owner or a couple of senior managers, and frankly they're just too damn busy most of the time to set this up. What I can see happening though is 2 years down the line, when the AIs are better trained, the AIs will be able to start to build the topics for you automatically.
Well, the AI doesn't do a bad job. It needs help to finish it off. Even now, it's not doing well on my data. It's not done a bad job.
So what I speculate, and this is just me spitballing right now, but in the same way that back in the day, we all built random database tables from the ground up because we thought that's what should be in there, and then some of it got sort of harmonized across systems, and now there's the common data model, which basically defines all sorts of hundreds of different types of data entity, and you don't have to go and build it from the ground up. I think the same will tend to emerge with knowledge structures. Knowledge is much more nebulous. It isn't as structured by its nature, but I think that AIs will be able to start to design topic networks based on their previous experience across vast numbers of organisations. Okay, well, when we see this kind of topic, usually it's got these types of nodes connected to it, and we'll be able to automate that process. But there's a bunch of years of learning, gathering of the data, and then training the AIs to be able to do that. So get back to me in 5 years' time and tell me whether I was right.
Yeah, as I say, it doesn't do a bad job at the moment. Sorry, I cut someone off. Who did?
No, I just said, well, we do have this recorded, so we can come back to it in 5 years.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'll create a Power Automate to remind us to do that.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
There's one with a 90-day timeout or something.
Maybe we'll just go for a good old-fashioned diary reminder.
Sticky note.
Yeah, but they lose their sticky after about a year and they disappear. They fall off your monitor.
Yeah.
And then you'll never remember your password.
Or indeed that of my wife and my daughter.
Or their name.
Yeah, let's not go there. Very good.
Very much, Sarah. That was really good. Really,
yeah, excellent. Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So what have we got coming up next then? We've got
Emily confirmed that she's up for it, so I think that might be the next one.
I think she's the end of April. I think 27th. I think.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
I was too more excited about her saying yes than actually looking at the details. And Don had come back and said yes as well, but he's going to be looking at May to assess his in. So I'm not sure what we've got next month.
I think Dylan was talking
I could
about
do one on some more OBS stupid tricks that I've been building up over the last year.
Okay.
Ooh.
What would people like to hear? Dylan, you were talking about two, weren't you? You said there was OBS and then there was a bit more on dynamics. To kind of
Larry will probably laugh at me and call me an incompetent fool, but I'm used to it. Not from Larry, but just in general. But yeah, I'd like to talk about Business Central because I've been spending a lot of time with that recently. So that's an interesting one if people are interested. It's part of Dynamics 365, but it's kind of different, but it's an interesting solution. And I've had a long-running obsession about making video presentation better and things you can do with OBS for showing mobile phone screens and all of these tricks you can do, which is continually evolving. That's what I'm saying. I'm doing new things every week with it, so that might be quite a popular one. So if anybody's got any thoughts.
My thinking is we should invite Emily to that because they're doing a bunch of stuff around learning OBS out in the States for exactly this purpose. So yeah.
Okay.
Yep, very good. I'll be up for that.
I'll put a poll up so then people can vote. So.
Okay.
And if
I'm
anybody
happy
else
to
wants
talk.
to do a session, like Sarah was very kindly offered. Mind you, we did have her arm pinned firmly behind her back at the time. Dan, you smiled. That could be you.
Dan wants to do one on Power Apps.
Dan's on mute.
Yeah, he is.
He's carefully volunteering himself while muted.
He's saying no, I'll never do it.
Yeah, true. I'm not volunteering though.
I can lip read, and I swear you said I volunteered to do a session. Actually, I'm
That's
not
what
good
I
at
thought.
reading.
Yeah.
I'm a bit busy at the moment. I've got a boss that keeps me under the cosh, so.
Yeah, I hear he's a right difficult swine.
So I will do eventually, but I've got a few things to be doing in the next month, so to speak.
So the other one we're trying to get is Phil. I'm pretty sure it's Phil Topness. I think it's a great name to do. He's one of the Power Apps program managers or a custom. He worked for the customer success team at Microsoft. Seeing if he'll come and do a session for us around Power Apps ALM.
Oh, that'd be good.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, but he's connected to me, but he hasn't responded to my message, so I'll have to just see if I can nudge him. And what would Don talk about, Simon?
Don's going to let me know that.
Okay.
It'll be more techie than I can handle.
Wow.
No, that's not a wow. That's a
No, the last one on the Teams devices, that was off the scale, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was good.
Though Simon's yet to convince me the thing on his desk is worth having.
Oh yeah, how are you getting on with that, Simon?
Seems pretty good. Yeah, it's a good speaker. And I've got this mic which I use for Teams, but it doesn't work for Zoom, so I use it for Zoom as well, and that works quite well. So yeah, it definitely sounds better. My ears can pick up what people are saying better than they can out of a laptop speaker. That was the reason I bought it.
And no hint of echo like what I keep getting.
No. It seems really
Right.
really good.
Okay.
So you went with the little microphone hook thing.
Yeah. Let me. I'm going to unplug it now. It'll stop working. I'll just untangle the wire and I'll tell you. I'll show you. Right. I suppose I could have moved my. Where's that? So that was on. So there's a PolySync 20, and that was on BT Business, and it was literally half price. Almost. Yeah, no, it was a half price. A bit like 80 quid. There's 160, I think, on the Poly website.
I think my husband will murder me if I have any more Teams devices.
But I mean, the one to get is the Surface Hub, isn't it? That's the one we'll get £8,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
think he was talking about that the other day. I think I was listening to a podcast with Christina Wheeler and Richard Campbell, and she was saying she's just bought one. So yeah, that does look quite good, but not a bit excessive. But I do like the idea of having a whiteboard and a camera, so we could, you could do some sort of envisioning on the whiteboard with people, and that'd be pretty slick.
Well, you don't need that expensive a set of kit to do that.
No.
You need it has to be a Teams meeting room.
Okay.
To do it natively, unless you're going to use OBS Studio. Maybe Dylan will show us how to.
I was going to say I've been playing with the poor man's version of that as well.
But it works with. It doesn't need an expensive webcam. It works with the Logitech C9. Is it C930E, which is about
right,
£80?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, it
it's
was
not-
before the global pandemic, but
I've got the Logitech team room. I've got it in a box. I haven't even packed it because I've stopped working in the office. I'm just totally at home now. So I've just left it in the box. But I just did wonder, has anybody used it?
Well, I've got a Yealink meeting room for Teams that I've got set up. Mainly to make sure I could set them up, since I'm training Teams admin. It seemed like a good idea to actually go through the process. And it was quite simple once I worked out that you can't actually use multi-factor authentication with a Teams room.
Yes.
Okay. Right.
You're not the first person I've heard mention that. Yeah, it's an easy mistake to fall into, and then it doesn't.
Yeah.
I think I'll probably set it up, and if not for the only reason that I know I can do it, really. So if I ever move back into the office, I'll be able to do it then.
Well, I find it quite nice if we have family meetings, because sitting around a webcam on a computer is quite squashy. But the meeting room is obviously designed to take a much wider field of view. Now you could plug the camera into an ordinary Teams, but it's just quite nice for a change to pretend you're in an actual meeting room.
Yeah, definitely.
I've got this Logitech Brio, and you can change its angle, so you can have a 90-degree angle. So it's quite impressive how wide you can get it to go out.
Yeah. But then I have to tidy the room behind me, and I can't use my virtual background.
Well, that's why we're shrunk in here. Yeah, I've got all this.
It's one of my pet hates, actually, is virtual backgrounds. Especially, it's like, unless you've got very, very smooth hair, the frizziness you get in headphones and things, it always just bugs me, because you try and do this game of trying to guess what's at the side of people and the sort of halo effect. It's actually
what's mine like?
But yours is almost perfect. We just lost your left hand as you did that. Mostly, we're not using any. Yeah.
In fact,
you seem to put your hand through the wall, which is clever.
You're not doing green screening, are you? Because it's really, really good on yours.
Yeah.
It's a green screen.
That explains, because I was looking at it thinking, that's perfect. How did you do that? I bet you she's using a green screen.
It's done in OBS Studio with a green screen, and what makes the big difference actually is the light.
Yeah.
If I switch my streaming light off.
Shadow.
That's not so hot.
Right.
So you're just getting the glare off your monitor, which tends to wash people out if they get close. Interesting. So has anyone tried green screen with Teams to see if that improves the Teams background extraction?
It does, but not significantly.
Yeah.
You don't tend to get you don't get the little bits appearing in the background. Because there's nothing to appear.
Yeah, just a plain background works, because it doesn't have to be green, just as much white as possible. So even if you see through, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
But then that defeats the whole point of having a green screen, really, if you make sure the background's tidy, doesn't it?
Yeah. Right.
Shall I move my green screen so you can see the real background? Okay, I'll have to change my camera. Just give me a second. I'll mute so you don't hear all the clattering as well.
You know, OBS Studio is really new to me. I don't know anything about it at all. I'm just looking now. It looks really interesting.
Vote for my session then.
I will. I will.
It's definitely got the lion's share.
Yeah, right. It's okay.
There we go.
That's not too bad. That looks very human.
Without any OBS
Right.
Studio on. I've still got my streaming light on if I switch my light off, obviously. But that's a Logitech Brio
Okay.
that I'm using.
And the streaming light you're using, Sarah, is that a dedicated device of some sort for this purpose?
Yeah, it's the Elgato key light.
Oh, posh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. That's if I pull my camera right out. And this is my green screen.
Okay, cool.
So that's just a banner. It's just one of those pop-up banner ones.
Oh, that's pretty slick. Yeah. I
If you know
see the
good
new
fabric
Brio.
shop-
The new Brio's got a ring light in it as well.
Sorry?
The latest Brio has now got a ring light in it as well. Which mine doesn't have that, but yeah.
I've seen one on Kickstarter that's about the sort of 60 quid range that looks very good because obviously somebody's realized there's a huge opportunity for cameras that don't suck. Funnily enough.
Yeah.
So, because I've been kicking this around for a while,